The second principle of quantum consciousness, quantum balance, and the observer effect. 1. Reality exists in probabilities, not absolutes. At the quantum level, nothing is fixed until observed. Particles don't have positions. They exist in clouds of probability. The moment you observe, the wave collapses into a particle. Possibility becomes certainty. In life, the same rule applies. Potential remains fluid until consciousness locks it in place. Your attention chooses reality. The job you notice, the person you recognize, the fear you focus on, these don't just exist independently. They materialize through your gaze. What you observe becomes the story you live in. 2. Consciousness is not passive, it's participatory. We grow up believing that observation is neutral, that watching a thing doesn't change it. But quantum consciousness dismantles that illusion. The observer is not separate from the observed. Consciousness penetrates reality and reshapes it. When you observe your emotions, your memories, your behaviors, those elements begin to shift. The person who becomes aware of their toxic pattern is already changing it. The one who acknowledges their desire is already summoning where that desire manifests. To observe is to alter. 3. Relationships as mirrors of the observer. Every interaction is a collapse of possibility based on perception. When you view your partner as distant, you engage with them through that filter, and they respond accordingly. The perception reinforces itself, but the moment you observe them through a different lens, empathetic, open, curious, you shift the field. Your partner becomes something different because your consciousness invited a new version of them into play. The relationship doesn't exist independently. It lives in the shared observation between two fields of awareness. Nost 4. Attention as creative force. Attention is not just mental focus, it's a creative engine. Where you place your attention, energy follows. If you focus on a problem, the problem intensifies. Focus on potential, and the field rearranges to offer new pathways. An anxious mind focuses on what could go wrong and calls those possibilities into form. A visionary mind stares at what could be and draws it closer. Attention is the tuning fork that shapes the tone of your experience, and most people are unconsciously creating storms by obsessively observing fear. 5. Self-perception and the internal collapse of possibility. The most profound application of this principle lies in how you observe yourself. If you hold a belief, I'm not good enough, I'll always fail, I'm broken, you are collapsing your own infinite potential into a limited particle form. Every moment you reaffirm that belief, you pull that version of yourself into reality again. But when you observe yourself with compassion, curiosity, and imagination, you release those fixed narratives. The new self, the healed self, the powerful self, starts to emerge because you gave it your gaze. 6. The power of witnessing in transformation. Healing isn't always about doing, it's about seeing clearly. A trauma, when finally observed without judgment, begins to dissolve. A truth long avoided, when finally named, begins to lose its grip. The act of witnessing, of becoming conscious of what was once unconscious, is not a side effect of growth. It is the growth. The therapist doesn't fix the client. They provide a mirror. The monk doesn't escape suffering. They observe it into wisdom. In this paradigm, healing is the alchemy of sustained observation. Example, reframing a workplace conflict. Imagine a person dreading a presentation, convinced their boss views them as incompetent. Every email, every pause, every glance becomes evidence. But if they shift observation, if they consciously choose to see the boss as someone under pressure, someone seeking collaboration, the field changes. They speak differently. They listen more openly. And the boss responds differently because the interaction now collapses into a more generous field. Nothing external changed, only the observation, yet the outcome transforms. 8. Shaping reality through mindful observation. This principle radicalizes spiritual and psychological work. Meditation isn't about escaping thoughts, it's about observing them so they lose power. Journaling isn't about venting, it's about witnessing patterns that are begging to be seen. Prayer isn't about asking a God to intervene. It's aligning consciousness to a frequency where intervention becomes possible. In every case, the act of sustained, intentional observation is what rewires the structure of experience. This is not metaphorical. It is mechanical. 9. The observer as the architect of reality. Quantum consciousness places you not on the edge of life, but at its center. You are not the camera recording reality. You are the lens shaping it. The power isn't just in thought, it's in the awareness behind the thought. The reality you experience is the one you have been observing into being. Change the lens, and the world changes with it. To live by this principle is to reclaim authorship. You are not at the mercy of outcomes. You are the observer. And in the quantum field, that means you are the author.